thought that might be a problem.
I know it's pretty colorful, but that's just so everyone knows we're good.
Call me, for your lovers, alibi.
I'm going to tell you something. Only one of you is going to make it out alive.
We haven't been formally introduced.
Alright, hello guys, welcome to my review of Supergirl 2026. So here's my thoughts. So I actually enjoyed it. Like it's actually good. I guess people just had too much expectations. Like when I saw the first trailer, my expectations went a bit down. I just knew it wasn't beating it like something like Jessica Jones or the original source material Woman of Tomorrow, which is just amazing. But yeah, I'd say for what it does, I'd say it's pretty good. Yeah. So yeah, I'll just give my thoughts on the movie, then spoilers and like comparisons to the comics. So also there'll be spoilers for like the comics, but it's spoiler free for like a few minutes, and then I'll get into spoilers and do comparisons to like the Woman of Tomorrow comic, since it's kind of based on it, but it's still in a way kind of does its own thing. But yeah. But yeah, I actually enjoyed it. Like, she actually did a good performance as Supergirl. It's definitely like a darker version. I'd say she's probably a lot less hopeful than the comic version, because the comic version was a bit dark, but it seems like she was a bit more hopeful. Like there was still like some hope in her. But this one, like, it's not fully there. Yeah. And you got this character Ruth, which I'd say is probably done way better in the comic, because in the movie, I know a lot of people are annoyed with her character. She was just decent in the movie, but with what they do within the flipping comic, like, it's just wow. Like comparing it to the comic version, like people already don't like a character, but if you've actually read the comic, I feel like the people would actually dislike the girl who accompanies Supergirl even more with how things go with her, with what she ends up doing at the end of the comic. But yeah, I'd say the story, like, so when it comes to like the pacing, so the first act, I can understand why some people might be turned off from the movie. Like I was kind of worried, because when I saw flipping Minnie's interviews, I was getting flipping worried that this movie was gonna be a huge flop, bad film. But it actually ended up being an enjoyable film. It's just the first half. I'm giving it a chance, of course. So I'm just so happy when you get to the second act. For me, it gets enjoyable. Like I'm fully locked in. And the third act, I enjoy that. And I'm just happy that I didn't feel like I wasted money watching it, like some people, I guess, because I don't know what they was expecting. Because this is like the opposite of the Superman movie that came out last year, which I just rewatched before, like watching Supergirl. Like that movie at this point to me is like a 10 out of 10. I have to say at this point, I can't pretend anymore. When I first watched it, it was like 8 out of 10, so I still gave it like a great rating. And then my third watch, 9 out of 10. So it was actually getting like, I feel like it's a movie that gets better the more you watch it, like the more it ages, which is something that my brother said too. And at this point, he's right, man. Like that movie is just like so good. It's what Superman should be, because yeah, Superman's more about hope, and it's a feel good movie. It's just like it makes you feel good when you watch it. Where Supergirl is more like depressing, and if you're someone who's watched something like Jessica Jones, which is a lot like really dark, you're seeing superheroes at their worst. Like Jessica, like her trauma is just insane, to the point where I'm surprised she can even flipping cope with it. Though in a way, she's kind of like barely living. I don't know if I can like yeah, Jessica Jones, man. Like, because I have to make this comparison. Like, there's a lot of similarities, but Jessica Jones, like her performance, like definitely the performance of her career to me. And it was good to see her again in Daredevil Born Again. But just the way how Kilgrave just messed up like I can't even talk properly right now because I'm just so hot. Like I've got like the flipping fan in the background, but psychologically, like she's just messed up in the head, like just her trauma's insane. And then from the comics, it seems like it's even worse from some of the pages I've seen. Jesus, like you physically see the stuff she goes through. It's more like, I'd say you mostly see it mentally with a bit of physical, but yeah, and how she just keeps going from that trauma. But you know, she's like an alcoholic, just like how you see Supergirl in this. She's kind of cut off like some of her emotions. She'll only be open to, like slightly to some people, but like she doesn't want to have like proper emotions with people, like connections, because she just feels like she'll just end up losing them. And when you watch flipping Jessica Jones, you see like her go through so much, man. Yeah. And you got someone like Buffy, like that's another character that goes for a lot of trauma. Like these are like the height of like female writing, and something that we don't see a lot these days. And that's why I kind of hate that people are kind of downplaying this movie, because yeah, you see Supergirl go for a lot of trauma in this movie. Like she's like, you're seeing at a lowest point, so of course she's not going to be like all like fun and stuff all the time. And that's something refreshing about this movie, and why I'm so happy James Gunn didn't touch this movie, and why I'm fine with what the director did, because I'm sick when superhero movies, they have like a very serious moment, and when you're starting to like take in the moment, like the flipping moment of a flipping joke. Yeah, James Gunn kind of does that a lot. Like he did that in flipping Peacemaker season 2, man. It's just, he kind of takes away moments. This moment, he actually let the emotional moments actually breathe. You actually felt them, and there's no joke that ends up ruining the moment. You just actually have to take it all in, and that's what I like, and that's what Millie does really well when she's doing her emotional moments and remembering Krypton and stuff, and the stuff that happens with Krypto, which we'll get into with spoilers and stuff. But yeah. But yeah, she does a very good performance. And then there's Lobo. Lobo, like, obviously is the highlight of the movie. Like this is the one thing that everyone says is the best thing in the movie, and they're not wrong. Yeah, because like I said, like Millie did a great performance as Supergirl, but flipping Jason Momoa as Lobo, I can see why people always wanted him to be Lobo. I could say, like, if he got his own film, he could be better than Aquaman, because Aquaman's movie, like when I first watched the first film, it was actually pretty good. I actually really enjoyed it. And now I want to see flipping a Lobo movie, because he was, every single moment he was on screen, he was so entertaining. Yeah, I just don't know if they can do it for a whole movie, but I guess you wouldn't need to make it too long for what Lobo's about. But I'm just guessing he's a very powerful character. He's like a bounty hunter in a way. But yeah, and he's really dangerous to the point where he wiped out his own people, which I don't know if that's really spoilers, because that's just the common knowledge of what Lobo's about, and I'll just get into spoilers what he's actually doing in the film when I'm talking about spoilers. But yeah, and yeah, I'll talk about the accuracy anyway. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I'd say if I was gonna rate it, like currently for my first watch, like between 7.5 and 8. But for now, I don't know if I should go with 7.5 with some choices they made with the film. But I'll get to those with spoilers. Why? And I feel like if I watch it again, maybe it'll rise to 8. But for now, I'm gonna say 7.5. That's the best I can do. Yeah, for now. So yeah, if you're someone who's not like you're not like going into this like thinking like it's going to be an amazing film, like Superman, because from the very beginning I just gave it like an 8 out of 10, and over time I just gave it like a 10 out of 10. Like before I watched this, it just became a 10 out of 10 at this point. Yeah, this movie, I guess we'll see if it can stand the test of time like Superman, which it's gonna be. I don't think a lot of people will think that, but I feel like it'll get to a point where people will see like, man, this movie was actually underrated. Like flipping Masters of the Universe right now. I watched that like 2 days ago, and that was amazing. And it kind of sucks people don't know how good that film is, and the action in that's so good. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I'd recommend it. But if you're having high expectations, I recommend to like maybe wait until you can watch it like at a cheaper price or when it's online or something. But yeah, that's it for like spoiler free. Now I'm gonna get into spoilers. So I guess I could talk about the villain, but let's talk about the accuracy to the comics. So of course, there's gonna be spoilers for like the movie and the comic it's based on. So Woman of Tomorrow, like I just finished Woman of Tomorrow, like oh my god, like it's beautiful, man. Look at this, man. It's such beautiful art, man. It's like the most beautiful comic I've ever seen. Like it's amazing, man. And then you just seeing the trauma in her eyes and stuff. It's just the way how the presentation of the comic is just like a lot more engaging, you could say, because that's the issue with like that's one of the issues with the film. When you've read the comic and then you watch the film, like it's not the same, man. It's like graphically, it's like it's just not hooking enough. And then I guess you have a bit of Supergirl story in the movie, but I can imagine what the kind of things she's saying in the comic, because they kind of use this to hide it, but you can kind of tell she's probably saying the F word and stuff a lot of the time, because she swears multiple times throughout the comic. Multiple times, and just like every time you turn the page and she's on the screen, she's swearing. Yeah. Because to show that she's really damaged. And some people that write like this, it would come off as like really bad writing. But the way how this writer did it, like, it actually kind of relates to how her character is and her trauma and stuff. And the way how they do, Krypton dying, I feel like it's handled a lot better in the comic, of course. Like, we slowly actually see it flipping die. It wasn't something that was just instant, because to a degree it's kind of instant in the movie, but then there's like a bit of it that kind of survived the explosion. So Krypton is kind of saved, but a lot of it's destroyed. But then there's still a part of it that's still alive for a couple of years, to the point where Supergirl can actually mourn like her mother and father and stuff when she ends up having to leave. And I'd say they do that pretty well. But the comic, you literally seen the whole process of all the Kryptonians getting ill and stuff, and just seeing her parents die. Like, you do kind of see that in the movie, but I feel like it's a bit more rushed, because you literally seeing like a lot of the people that are not like ill and stuff trying their hardest and Supergirl to save Krypton, and then to the point where all of them are just possibly all becoming ill, and then to the point where it's only Supergirl trying to do it, and then it just gets to a point where she has to accept that she can't save Krypton, and then saying goodbye to her mother. Then you get like the same line, just like what he used in the movie, "Be good." Yeah, but she has a lot of trauma to truly be good. She still tries her best to be Supergirl, but the trauma is just like so heavy, because she remembers all the things she lost. Where Superman, that's the difference with Superman and why he's more hopeful, because he doesn't remember the people that was on Krypton, because he was a baby. She was literally, you could say, not like a fully grown, but grown enough to understand what she was losing. And like, because just imagine like your whole race being flipping wiped out, and having to live with that, and you being like one of this flipping, can't even, should I say 1% or less than that, I don't know, because it's just her and her cousin Superman, and just remembering everything that happened, and then trying to come home. And oh yeah, Superman in this, like, oh, I was smiling the whole time when he was on the scene, and him trying his best to like help Kara fit in when she comes to Earth and stuff. They're like, he tries his best, I guess, but she just never truly feels like home, because she remembers the home that she lost. Where obviously Clark has deep emotions when he thinks about Krypton, and then the only thing he has is like a message. But she actually fully lived what Krypton actually looks like. Well, some of it, what that survived in the movie version, and then the comic version, like, she fully saw everything destroyed, but slowly too, so even hurt even more. Yeah. And I kind of like that the comic one's probably a lot more damaged than the movie one, but then the movie one ends up doing a more darker thing at the end, which we'll get to. But let's talk about the villain, and then I guess I'll talk about the ending. So yeah, Krem, I actually liked him. I know a lot of people are just like, oh, he's just a generic villain, but I'd put him on the same, maybe not fully the same level, but on the same level as the Guardian 3 villain, because he's just pure evil. And sometimes I just like when a villain's just pure evil, not like someone that you're supposed to like feel sorry for, or you can kind of agree with them. And sometimes just like a villain to just be full evil. They don't always have to flipping have like multiple layers, like just pure evil. And just seeing this guy flipping kill families, kids, and flipping the amount of kids he killed in the flipping comics, like bodies, Jesus. Even though he's not really like a powerful villain, it's just how twisted he is, and how he can. I like how he's like basically the device of how far you can push a hero to the point where they might break. And that's what I like about Krem, because he's not really that well written, because he's just basically a pure evil villain, and there's many used for like the hero's moral compass, and then the girl as well. Like, how far can he basically break him to the point where then basically no longer a hero, they'll just become a killer like him. I like that concept. That's like one of the good things about Supergirl and Woman of Tomorrow, like how it's about basically one guy possibly breaking the hero to the point where they become a killer too. Yeah. And the way how the movie does it, I don't know if it's going to be like flipping Man of Steel all over again for some people, but for me, I accept it because I know this is like a darker version. But obviously, I'm going to say it. Flipping Supergirl kills Krem in the movie, and it seems like she was going to do the same thing in the comic, but. And this is what I'm saying. Like the flipping the little girl, I feel like they do her way better in the comic because she's literally the one who actually stops Supergirl from killing Krem. Like you could see that she was actually ready to flip and just slice his head off. But Krem, like she learned from the whole journey, like being around Supergirl, that she kind of got to see like the beauty in life and stuff, and how you can become a better person and don't let like revenge or like just consume you. Something better done than flipping Last of Us 2, which was just god awful with how they did revenge and trying to not like fully go dark and just become like them. Because Ellie, like, she became worse than Abby. I just hate to say that, but yeah. But yeah, the movie version, you just see Supergirl just take all the trauma that the girl has, and then she just kills Krem. And I don't know, I was fine with it. You could still say they're gonna try to still build on her, and I just feel like this version of Supergirl is probably like killed before. With the way how she's talking, it just sounds like she's actually killed before. And I was more down for like a Supergirl that kills, because she has way more trauma than Superman, and it makes more sense that Superman doesn't kill. But Supergirl, this version of Supergirl, I'm actually fine with it, because I was fine with like the Flash Supergirl, even though Flash is like such an awful movie. I hate you, Ezra Miller. Like, sorry. I was fine with a Supergirl that killed in that. There's just certain characters where I'm just feel like it's not the character at all, and you could just say it's like a different interpretation of the character. Yeah, because Man of Steel, like, it just felt completely nothing like the character. And then I can also like bring up CW Supergirl, which is my favorite version of Supergirl. Like, there's times where she just literally wants to just kill the villain and just feels like it'll just get rid of all the problems because it's possibly ruining her life or killing people that she cares about. And it's really her friends that stop her going that far. So that's the thing. Supergirl needs someone that can stop her from doing the darkest things. Superman, he'll just never do that. But Supergirl, she's like, because of the trauma and the stuff, and she remembers about Krypton, and then nearly losing flipping Crypto in this movie when he gets shot by the owl, just like in the comic. Like, it just pushes her to like the limits, and just seeing flipping Krem kill flipping people that she tried to save. I was just like, that kind of gave off like Jessica Jones vibes, because she was literally there to possibly, stop him, but she was just too slow, and just seeing her become like weak from like not having the sun and stuff. You got to see like a vulnerable Supergirl. Yeah, I just don't know what some people are talking about, because to me, like, this is how female characters should be written. She's not like perfectly done like Jessica Jones or Buffy Summers, some other great female characters like Ripley from Aliens. Just there's so many great ones. Because most of my favorite fictional characters are like female, like Toph Baythorn. I say they're doing a decent in like the Avatar new season live action show right now, because I feel like they're trying to follow the source material a bit more better than before. But yeah. I'm fine with some of the choices they made, but then some of the negatives to why I probably would give it a 7.5. The way how they viewed, because there's so many planets in this movie, but the execution and the lighting and stuff is not the best. Because the comic was so beautiful, it's like the most, like, I actually want to own Woman of Tomorrow, because I read it online, but I'd actually want to actually buy it, because just to look at that art, it's just wow. It's literally my phone screen right now. Some of the art of Woman of Tomorrow. But yeah, that's like one of the weaknesses where it loses a point, and then the first act loses another point because of how slow it was, and you had to wait like close to the second act for it to finally start building momentum. And then you got Lobo, which saves the film. Millie's acting, like, it's great. Krem, I'm just happy that he's not a cliche villain. Not having too much comedy like James Gunn always does was refreshing. That's the biggest positive I can say about this director. And I'm just happy we're in a time where we don't have woke characters. They're too perfect. Because Supergirl in this, she's very damaged. It's not like flipping Captain Marvel where she's just so perfect and shit. And again, remember, there was a Supergirl movie before this, and it was actually awful. This is actually not perfect, but it's still a 7.5 to 8 out of 10 movie for me. Because going from that version to this is a huge upgrade. I probably wouldn't be saying this movie beats Superman at all, because, like I said, it's basically the opposite of Superman, because that's more like a feel-good movie. This is more like a tragic story, but them trying to become the hero they're supposed to be, and then have people guide them like Superman and stuff. And then I just feel like the biggest issue would be like maybe the ending with her killing Krem. I don't know how people are gonna feel about that. For me, it works for this version of Supergirl, and I can accept it more than flipping the Man of Steel one, because the Man of Steel one, like, oh, it's just, oh, I don't hate Henry Cavill's Superman. It's just the way how they decided to write him, and then they made him even worse as the movies went on. They just didn't really care about developing this version of Superman better. They just decided to make him worse and worse and worse. And it just sucks for Henry Cavill, because there was potential, even though I don't think Man of Steel is a perfect movie, there was actually potential in it. And I don't dislike it, because I'd say it's a above average movie for me. But then there was potential to make it maybe more than that. But then they just decided to do Batman v Superman, just rushing to like setting up flipping an Avengers level like Justice League movie. It was just, the direction was just too fast paced, and then they tried to copy Marvel with the comedy and shit, and then they just ruined everything. And then flipping The Walk came, and that's when it was just officially over. James Gunn's actually trying to build things better. Yeah. And I'm just happy I ended up enjoying this. It's not a 10 out of 10 or anything like that, or a 9 out of 10. Right now, for me, for my first watch, it's a 7.5, because the first act, the visuals not being as good as the comic, and what else can I say? I guess the way how the emotion I feel for Kara, it's not as strong as the comic one, because like they really like fucks the whole comic on her pain of losing Krypton, like, because it was a slow process, and it just ate her up in a way. I feel, because she does spend a long time with Krypton, but then it's like I feel like it happens a lot faster, and I still feel for her, but it's not as the same as the comic version. And yeah. But other than that, yeah, I still enjoyed this film. I think that's all I got to say. I don't think there's anything else to say, but yeah, I'd watch it again just to see if my rating would go higher. But yeah, that's all I got to say. Appreciate you watching. Let me know what you thought of the movie. Probably mostly negatives, but yeah. Oh, it'd be cool if I can find someone else who enjoys the movie like me. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. I'm sure you can leave a like. Peace.